You know, I was straight.
Who's on our CIP going?
Nursing school, I was an expert, but.
Rob, Morgan.
Thank you. Well, that's my point. What's your sort of?
Good morning.
For the show,
This-
the people in charge of.
Yeah.
Sorry, command.
This is a continuation of the planning board meeting of June 12. The sole purpose of this meeting is to determine whether or not the application from the Tyrell Company is complete. We'll begin with, thank you to all of the members and alternates for volunteering their time this morning. Roll call, start with you, Rich.
Rich Reader, select board, next official.
Margaret Turner, alternate.
John Racine, member.
Morgan Dean, member.
Catherine Brennan, member.
Bill Spence, member.
Mike Capel, member.
Alan Burko, alternate.
Rick Smith, member.
Rob Wilson, alternate.
Thank you all for being here. Since we have a quorum, we have 7 voting members around the table. I will not have to seat anyone this morning. This morning's agenda is to review whether or not the application is complete. The items that were requested, which is the continuation or the completion of the maps. That is the adjoining buildings on map 105, lot 10-311. Updated designated pedestrian paths that would not interfere with the existing fire lanes. Estimated location of where signage will be on the property. Service areas off street for deliveries and or loading. Handicapped parking and elevation view of fencing. My review is that all of those items have been presented and are here. Are there any comments from any of the members around the table? Anyone here wish to say anything?
I
Yes.
have a question about the handicap parking spaces. So I saw those on there. However, I could be wrong. I thought you had to be 200 feet towards the, that was ADA compliant. And if you look at the scale, they're not 200 feet. So I don't know if they're there. So, but whether they're compliant or not, that I question when you look
Yeah,
at.
the letter from the staff that Dave Noyes signed, he will review that with Janine and make sure that when you get the actual layout, because there may still be some moving of the different elements or the building location might move a little bit. Once that's all settled, Dave will ensure compliance with all the code requirements, which include the ADA.
So, because right now it's not.
Yeah, right
Correct.
now,
Okay. It's
it
it's
is,
more than 200
More
feet.
than 200
Okay.
feet, but I don't know exactly where everything will
Okay.
fall.
And-
And I don't know the codes right off the top of my head, but Dave will review that.
I'm glad you brought up the letter too, because that was my second question was, so it says final evaluation and concurrence with proposed plans will have to wait until further site parameters are developed. So do we have a comfort level as a board that that's going to suffice from public safety saying that they're signing off on this as a complete plan? That's my question to the board.
I'd say yes.
What we're trying to do today is determine whether the elements of a complete plan are present, if they're here. And the assessment of them, including what the staff department heads are going to do, is part of what will take place during, up to 65 days between the time that everything is presented and we accept it as complete, or don't accept it, but if it's accepted as complete, then the next phase is the public hearing and the assessment by these individuals.
I understand that. So I just want to make sure that, so when something is accepted as complete, it does not have to be legal in the sense of like the ADA stuff like that. As long as that's that we're just saying that the parking spaces are there, they're not compliant,
Yeah.
but they're there.
Correct.
Okay, got it.
That's my understanding of this procedure and how we are to progress with this. So into the record and for the satisfaction of the people here who don't see this letter. Morgan, I'm gonna ask Madam Secretary to read this letter into the record.
Was dated June. No, they're good. Okay. June 16th, 2025, subject ongoing staff review of site plan submission, proposed adventure zone. Dear Planning Board, this letter is to notify the board that the developer of the proposed adventure zone site plan application is continuing to coordinate site plan requirements with town staff. At this time, the proposed plan can be serviced by existing water and sewer system capacities. Locations of required water and sewer mains have yet to be determined, but they can be done without any public road or sidewalk cuts. And they can be done in a manner which will allow for the proper operation and maintenance of the existing water and sewer services. The developer is also continuing to coordinate with the Department of Public Safety to ensure that the final plan will comply with all pertinent state and local laws and regulations, including life safety and health codes. Final evaluation and concurrence with proposed plans will have to wait until further site parameters are developed. Questions pertaining to this letter may be directed to the undersigned. Mark Dakota, Town Manager, Dylan Tucker, Director of Municipal Services, and David Noyes, Director of Public Safety.
Okay, are there any comments?
Bill,
Yes.
my understanding, my own brain, is that we are determining that all of the things that are required to be a completed plan are there. However, the finals, there can be changes to that plan up to a certain number of days before the public meeting. That is not true, so they cannot change it.
No. No, they can change it. And there's a period between now, there are two periods to be determined. One is from the time of the application until the end of the application period is 30 days.
Right.
We're within the 30 days. It's our job to determine whether or not the application is complete during that 30-day period and to assess, say, yes, it is complete or no, it is not.
Right.
Then there's a 65-day period, maximum 65-day period where the planning board may assess this, the attributes of the plan. And it is a moving process during that period. That is, changes can be made, alterations can be made. The Public Safety Department, as an example, could suggest changes. The developer could do so. And we would be advised of that. During that period, there's the next thing that's going to happen after we make our determination of whether or not this plan is complete, is we will set a time, a date, and a place for a public hearing. We will listen to what the public has to say. And then we will combine that with our own assessments and the assessment from our town planner and any other expertise that we may draw upon to determine whether or not we accept the plan.
Which is sometime or after the 65-day period.
No,
Within.
during,
Within.
So by, what was it, August 23rd, I believe?
Second.
August 22nd.
that doesn't mean we have to take the 65 days. It just means that that's the time period that we're going to assess.
That's my understanding as well.
That's what
Things can change by recommendation from us or
I
recommendation.
fully
from-
suspect that will happen.
I suspect it will too.
And if we don't act within the 65 days, it goes to the select board and the select board will vote that it is approved for state law.
Correct.
Yeah, if we don't do anything about it and then we don't come to any
We have no
conclusion,
choice.
it is by default accepted.
Right.
Any other comments, questions?
We won't do that.
Bill, when's it appropriate to ask for more information on the application?
Well,
Last meeting.
today, not the way I'm reviewing this meeting. This meeting is determined whether or not it's complete.
Understood.
Okay, so if you want more information, you can ask for that anytime.
Yeah, once you vote whether or not it's complete. Then if you have a list, get us the list and we'll start gathering information.
It's a moving process.
Yep.
After this determination of completeness. Okay,
After is the word I was looking for.
okay. Any other comments?
I just had one other thing. I don't think it's required at this point, so I wouldn't hold up the process. I was interested in seeing what that. We had elevation of view of fencing. This, it's on there, you could see it,
Yes.
but it's not what I was asking for. And so I know it's not necessarily required for this process and maybe can't really have an opinion on that. I just wanted to know, is it a 10-foot fence to keep people out? With barbed wire on the top, and obviously that's a,
Razor
I'm
wire,
sure they wouldn't do that, but
electrified.
you know, if you really don't want people on there, it's gonna be something that's gotta prohibit that. And so I just was sort of interested in that. Again,
Yes.
not required for this.
I know, it's a detail and it's kind of. It's a point that needs to be emphasized over and over again, but is the plan here? Are all the pieces in place? That's our determination right
Yeah.
now. And afterward, yeah, I have questions as well, and I think it's a legitimate question. But right now, what we're trying to determine is whether or not it's complete. Any other comments or questions? Do I hear a motion?
I move we accept the plan as complete,
The application.
application as complete.
I'll second that.
Should we, for the proposed adventure center?
For the, I move we accept the application for the proposed adventure center as complete.
And I'll second that.
Okay, any other discussion? And we'll have a vote, and I'll go around the table, start with you, Rick.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
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 planning board accepts as complete. The next thing that we need to do is determine a time, a date, and a place for the public hearing. The proposal is on the table for Tuesday, July 8 at 6 p.m. in this room.
I had a question about that too. Because we did speak about that it's a, you've got like a holiday in there and that it would,
Yep.
it would be kind of rough. And then also, since we probably have a very big meeting on July, that we wouldn't really take this back up again for our debate and discussion until the August meeting. So
Well,
can
we
we
do
make it
have
closer
a-
to that? Because we have that big presentation in July from the SE group, and to kind of talk about and stay focused on our priorities.
I
And then
understand.
if we did it at the end of July or beginning of August and then had it on August meeting, we still have a whole week after that if for some reason something, whatever.
I think it's going to take, but in other words, some time to evaluate and be ready to say yes or no about the attributes of the plan. But I think what will happen is we have the public hearing on the 8th. We'll hear, I think, a good deal from the public. Then we'll have a chance to say on the meeting at the regularly scheduled planning board meeting of July 10.
So you are putting it on the agenda for the 10th?
Yes, because it's an ongoing process. I know that's not the last time we're going to talk about it.
You said that was 8 AM?
Yes,
No, the public hearing?
no, the public
6
hearing
yeah.
is, okay, you asked. We were talking about the next scheduled planning board meeting. Next scheduled planning board meeting is at 8 AM. I'm suggesting that the public hearing occur on Tuesday, July 8 at 6 PM in this room.
Do you want it here or do you want it at the Brookside room by the post office? Which can hold more people?
I would then go to the Brookside room.
I'm just suggesting I'm not.
I'm anticipating that there will be attendance.
Yeah.
But I have a question, Mr. Chairman. Is there multimedia available
We-
there?
Yes, we've done complete board meetings. out
Okay,
of that.
that's done, because I think that's important.
Okay,
Otherwise, we could do it at the multimedia.
that's a valuable suggestion.
We cannot do it at the rec center school because they are set up for summer camps. There is no
Okay,
multi-purpose room from now until August. So.
okay.
Question,
Mr. Chair, I would support your proposal that we have a public hearing sooner rather than later. I think public is chomping at the bit to make comments on this, and it will give us time if we do it sooner to consider those as we deliberate and perhaps leave us more room for more public comment later in the process.
yes,
Well,
there's
look-
nothing stopping us from having two public hearings.
Well,
Right.
it's a lot of, to just point though, yes, I think that there will be interest. So you want to give people time. It is a holiday, coming off of the holiday week, and then, I mean,
That's why I
You know,
suggested the Tuesday.
well, yeah, but you're coming off that holiday, you've got the 4th of July, so people take the following week. It's really up to you guys. I mean, I'm just saying that if we really want to give people time to be here,
Mhm.
maybe push it back a tiny bit, then that gives us time to mull over what's been said and, but
If- Oh, I'm sorry.
no, that was it. That if the rest of the board doesn't have an opinion about that, I'm fine with.
People can always
whatever, yeah.
correspond with the board as well if they're not gonna be here that week.
Yeah, we expect written submissions,
And those will be read in.
all part of the process.
Nobody else has an opinion about that?
I think it's as soon as we are able to organize and, I mean, I understand people want to comment on this proposal. But we have like next week, it's the fact that the 4th of July holiday weekend is occurring now or soon. That we suggested the 8th. Yeah, I would have it as soon as we possibly could, but the 8th seems to be the most advantageous date. Mark,
And you're
question?
not limited by statute for having special meetings.
Right.
To continue the discussion,
Right.
so if you don't have a
That was
good
my
turnout or. You
Yeah.
get complaints that people couldn't attend, you can have other meetings
Yes,
and take
But I-
additional comments, or your discussion of the plan may take several meetings. You don't have to decide everything on.
all true. There's nothing stopping us from having special meetings and nothing stopping us from having additional time for public comment and other public hearing.
I think Kathy's point is quite valid, that we may be biting off more than we can chew if we're gonna try to have a long meeting with SC Group and discuss this in one meeting. I think
This
that
is
will
true.
be an issue, so I think
I
we're gonna have to.
agree, I'm not trying to, what I'm trying to do is set a time, a date and a place for the public hearing. That's what I'm trying to accomplish right
And we
now.
can decide. I
And
think.
then we could have a special meeting for the SE group, we could have a special meeting for the continuation of our discussion of the evaluation of this plan. All of those things are possible. Anybody else have a comment on setting a time and, yes, Margaret?
Yeah, maybe, if we are gonna be very busy on our next regular meeting, we could ask the members of the board if they have specific questions and comments to submit them to Mark or to somebody
Mm-hmm.
before the next meeting, so we have some idea of the kinds of things. And so would the developer have an idea of the kinds of things that people are interested in knowing?
That's certainly possible, and I do expect written questions, written submissions in
Right.
any case.
Right.
So I would encourage that to happen. Any other comment on time, date and place for public hearing?
When will this be posted in the library, et cetera?
It'll
Yes.
be posted, as soon as you pick a date and time within the next, few work days.
We just have to
So,
make a
probably
decision
by Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah.
It'll be out.
as soon as possible,
Okay.
in all the usual places.
And we are noticing abutters again. The board talked about that at the last meeting, so we are gonna give abutters the legal notice for the public hearing.
In other words, a second registered letter.
Yeah, right.
I did have an abutter come to me and say they didn't get their registered letter, and I just referred them to town
Yeah,
hall.
just
Okay,
refer them to us, we'll find out. what happened.
Do I hear a motion?
For the,
To adjourn.
The public
Oh,
hearing.
the public hearing. Sure, I'll move to propose that the public hearing for, the, Adventure Zone, project, be scheduled for, Tuesday, 8 July at 6 P.M. In a place to be determined, I think, at this point, right? We don't know.
In the,
But we don't know if we can.
Well,
Right.
we'll make sure that we can get the.
okay, the proposal is the
Well,
Brookside.
if we can, the Brookside room
In Town Square.
in Town Square. If not, we'll find another place.
Second.
All in favor?
I,
It is done. Those are the two principal things that had to be accomplished this morning. Is there any other business before the board?
Are you gonna offer, do you want a privilege of the floor? We have gas.
We do, yes.
It was suspended last meeting or earlier in the meeting. I should say.
I shall not do that again. Do members from, in the public gallery, do you have any comment to make? Do you wish to say anything? No. Any other comments?
Where's the donuts?
Beg your pardon? Right.
Bill,
Yes,
will this be covered in the wig wag coming out on July 1st?
I
Is this a question for the
would be
wig
very disappointed if it were not.
I can assure you it will be.
All right, then I could make some comments that at the public hearing is designed specifically for the purpose of allowing the public to say what it wants to say. In other words, we are the listeners and they are the speakers. That is, exchange is certainly possible. It's not prohibited. But the point I'm making is that we are there to hear what the public has to say and not for any other purpose. And James, I suspect you will be there. Of course, and that the public may address questions to the developer may respond. But the whole purpose of the public hearing is to hear what the public has to say.
Just a question, Bob, were you asking if the planning board was going to put an announcement in the wigwag for the public hearing?
Well, it'd be nice to see a schematic of the plan.
Are you talking about the actual
The
plan?
wig wag, so that people could see what's going on.
It could be
Yeah.
linked. We could put an announcement if we have
Yes.
time,
Because these
And
drawings
then
are
link-
large, but
ask them to,
Bob certainly knows that.
if we
Yeah,
can link.
Monday.
Link to a section on
Link
on the
to a-
town's website.
right.
isn't that stuff up there already?
Hmm?
That stuff's not up there already?
I think it is.
It is on that, it is on.
Have the plans up there, the revised plans are, the link should be.
On the website, on the town, it is on the town website.
And so we're PDFing anything that is submitted. We are putting a PDF copy of that on the website. So the elevations, everything that you've been provided.
Any other comment? Anything else we need to talk about? Is there a motion?